Hey guys, and welcome! Today's video is a follow-up to a video I did a few weeks ago where I was talking about some things I think could be improved in Battlefield 2042, and a lot of you wrote a comment to this and shared some more suggestions and ideas, so I thought I'm gonna do another one with some more things from my list and also some things you wrote. Just like the last video, this is not supposed to be hate about the game, but some serious ideas on how it could be improved. And I'm gonna start with something that was mentioned quite a lot in the comment section, and that's the 2 stealth helicopters. They've already been nerfed a little with one of the last updates and their armor was reduced, so they can be destroyed a lot easier now, but there is still something that should be improved, and that's their maximum altitude. Cause what I see quite a lot lately is one of those helis flying on maximum altitude in stealth and out of range of basically everything that could do any harm to them, so they're still able to drop bombs on objectives with a high precision, but can't be reached with this rocket launcher or Rao's hacking ability anymore. The only way to destroy them in this case would be a very lucky shot with recoilless M5, but that shouldn't be the only solution. So what I think could solve this problem is to let these bombs explode automatically after a certain distance. This means that when the heli is flying too high and out of range of everything that could counter it, the bombs would explode before they even reach the ground. If the pilot wants to deal damage, they would have to stay below a certain altitude, and if they want to get higher, they wouldn't be able to deal damage anymore. The next few points I want to talk about are to the spawn system again, cause here it seems that there is still a lot of potential for improvements, even though there have been many changes made already. And one point that was mentioned a lot in the comments is the horrible spawn mechanic with controller. I'm not playing on console myself, but I sometimes play with controller on PC, and I gotta agree with this. Choosing the squad member or objective you want to spawn on is so fiddly that I usually skip to the mouse for a second. But I know that you don't have this option on console, and even on PC it's quite annoying, so this should be improved. And that's the same for the respawn timer, at least in certain situations. For example, when you try to spawn on another squad member and they get killed while you have this zoom in animation, you will get back to the spawn screen immediately, and that's good of course. But why do I have to wait another few seconds to try and spawn in again? It wasn't my fault that the other player died, but still I get this additional delay before I can get in at another spawn point. So this should be removed in this situation, and probably also the waiting time after you've been revived and then immediately shot again. Cause most of the time you already waited several seconds for the medic to come and revive you, and then you get shot again right away and you have to wait again, even though you couldn't do anything about it and haven't had the chance to fire one bullet. And then, as another improvement for the spawn system, it would be great if we could spawn in on players who are on a parachute. This was working in former titles, and then you simply spawned at a parachute as well in this case, and I have no idea why this was removed for 2042. I know it's not possible if the other player is in the wingsuit, but for players simply being on a parachute, they should just let us spawn with a parachute as well. And as the last point for the spawn system, and that also came a lot as a feedback in the comments, I would love to be able to adjust my soldier's loadout and also modify my vehicle after locking in a vehicle. Cause especially at the start of a round it can be really hard to get a tank or a helicopter or even only a gunner seat in one of those vehicles. But if you are lucky enough to get one, you can't change your loadout anymore. In my case, for example, I always prefer to take the repair tool with me when I'm in a vehicle, but once I locked it in, I can't equip it anymore, and if I take the time to equip it, the vehicle is gone. So this is another thing that was available in all former titles I played, but suddenly not a mechanic in 2042 anymore, and I would really love to see this added with a future update. Next up, I want to talk about the squad play and how I think a few things could be improved. And first of all, I think there should be a more visible message at the beginning of a round that informs the current squad leaders that they are squad leaders. And the same if this changes during a match, cause I think this completely gets lost in 2042 somehow. And then for the squad orders themselves, there should also be XP events. For example, for completing a squad order or even for giving them. Cause right now squad play is at a horrible place in 2042 and should definitely be more rewarded to encourage players to stick together and also encourage the squad leaders to play their role. And also, like it was in former titles, if a squad leader is not giving any orders, then someone else should be promoted to be the leader automatically. In addition, I would also love to see the traditional squad overview again, where you can freely look through squads and join the one you prefer, just like it was in Battlefield 1 or 5 or basically any former title of the series. And then another idea I had is for our beloved robot dog ranger and his abilities, cause right now I don't see many players use it since it always feels a bit useless and too hard to handle in the thick of the battle. So what I would love to see is that ranger is not getting destroyed once the owner dies, but instead stays at the point and defends the area while the owner can spawn in again. Plus, why not add ranger to the spawn menu as well, so basically like a mobile spawn beacon. It would then act as an additional member of the squad and everyone of the squad could spawn on it until ranger is destroyed by enemies. This would also add up to the mechanic that ranger counts as squad mate when capturing a flag. So just give this little doggo a bit more importance, cause right now it's just a neat gadget everyone is forgetting. Plus, the mastery of ranger could then also be changed to kills, assists and players spawned, which would make it a lot easier to achieve. And then there are two more things about specialists that might be a good improvement, and the first one is for Casper's trait, cause right now he has this built-in proximity sensor that starts to pulse when there are enemies nearby, but I honestly think that this is the most useless trait any of the specialists has, cause you never know where the enemy is or how far away they are. So why not replace this trait with something more useful? For example, the ability to spawn in on all available insertion beacons of your team, similar to the combat role the recon had in Battlefield 5. That would make it a lot easier to break spawn traps or get back into the game, cause then the other squad members could spawn in on Casper at the same location. But that was just something I had in mind while mastering this specialist. Something else I would like to see, but that's only for the settings, is an option for the control sensitivity of this rocket. On PC that's not much of a problem, but on console or with controller I found it incredibly hard to steer these rockets and hit the targets. So just a slider to set a different sensitivity than the aim sensitivity would be very helpful. And what I also think should have been a thing right from the start, especially for the people who don't have the time to play the game for hours and hours per week, is that weapon assists should count towards the masteries as well. Cause for normal players it needs a lot of time to master all of these weapons, and with work, house, kids and so on, not many players really have this much time to spend on a game. To me it always feels like full-time streamers who have plenty of time to play are the reference for challenges like this, even though they only make up a small part of the player base. So I think assists counting towards weapon masteries and not only the actual kills would be fair for everyone. And at the end, there are a few general changes or things I would like to see added, and that's a manual leaning feature, so the ability to lean left and right when you are behind cover, and also manual peeking. Then sniper zeroing, so you can zero the scope of your sniper rifle depending on your preferred combat range to make it easier to hit targets on distance. Then the ability to see how many servers are running for the different all-out war modes, so not a server browser, cause I know they already said it won't be added to the game, but at least a small number next to the game mode to see how many servers are available in my region, which would make it a lot easier to find full matches. And at the end, a chat box for the full server and not only for your team or your squad. This is especially helpful when you are hosting different Portal experiences and you want to stay in touch with everyone during a round, or you play free-for-all where everyone is an enemy. And I know this all chat was allegedly taken away because EA wanted to reduce harassment in the game, but honestly it also takes away a lot of communication between players. So yeah, these were all the other points I had on my list so far. Not sure if I will do another one of these videos, but since there's always room for improvements, the list might fill up again. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like or a comment below and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.